Thank you very much.
Thanks, Julie. Yeah, great. So, yeah, just say a little bit about why I particularly wanted to do this subject. So the Niyamas are a kind of teaching within Buddhism and within Triratna that I think sometimes just get presented in a bit of a complicated way. And my tagline, my vision for myself is to actually make Buddhism as easily understandable as possible. So I don't, I'm assuming some of you kind of have come across the Niyamas before. So what they are the 5 different ways in which things are conditioned, so we're going to look at that in a minute. But before we do that, I think it'd be nice to do a little bit of meditation to just get us into a better state. So if you want to just get ready for some meditation, but before we do the meditation, I always do a little bit of body work stuff. So we'll do some of that. So we'll just do it seated. So what I want you to do is just rub your hands together. And take some deeper breaths. Really get the oxygen into your lungs. And then just drumming with your fingers on the top of your head. And just put your forehead in the palms of your hands and just hold your forehead. Just having a sense of like turning away from the world. You don't need to be responding to the world, looking out into the world, expressing anything to the world. Just enjoy the feeling of your head being held in your hands. Maybe being aware of your breathing on your wrists and the contact of your body with the chair and your clothing. So just having a sense of slowing down. So the mind is often quick and wants to be doing everything quickly, but the body just moves at a much slower pace. So we're trying to get in touch with our body, that sort of pace of things. So just give your face a little bit of a massage, a bit of a wash with your hands. Okay, rub your hands together. And then chest. And down the outside of your arms. Palm of your hand. Other side. And then just circling on your stomach. And put down your legs. Your legs are a bit of a massage. And shake everything out. Okay. And then just closing your eyes. And being aware of the contact of your body with the chair. So getting used to this particular position that your body's in. Just letting yourself become a bit more aware of where you are right now, the environment outside. Maybe put your thoughts to one side just while you're being aware of your environment, the sounds, sights, taste in your mouth, just receiving the world into a soft awareness. And being aware of the dimension of time, the fact that you exist in time, that you've had a past and will have a future, and exist right now in a particular moment in time, which is the present moment. And the fact that you have a body, that body is there with you all the time, and it has a particular structure to it. So you've got bones that support the body's weight, and muscles that move the body about, organs that keep it alive, various ways. So just let your body just sit there, just reflecting that it knows how to sit down. It doesn't need any help from your mind to make it sit up. It will just sit there. And you just need to balance your spine so that the weight goes down into the ground as directly as possible. And then the muscles of your body can feel confident that they can let go because the bones of the body will support the body's weight. So just having a sense of shedding any tension. And tuning into how you're feeling at the moment. And just particularly getting into a sense of wishing yourself well, getting behind yourself emotionally, wanting the best for yourself. Mahabodhi. So just in whatever way you want to, just finding a way of kindling a small flame of interest in yourself. Might be that you imagine a warm red glow in your chest area around the heart. And this symbolizes gentleness and kindness directed towards yourself. So, what is it that you want for yourself? Just ask yourself that question. What do you want for yourself? What do you actually need? Are you aware of what you need in life? How are you thinking about yourself? How rounded is your view about yourself? Are you thinking of yourself as an object who just does tasks? Are you thinking of yourself as a glorious human being with all sorts of possibilities, dreams, potentialities? So trying in whatever way to move from the first to the second. Try to have a more rounded view of yourself and what you actually are. And then finding a way of getting behind the welfare of that being. Behind that potential. May I be well. Now bring to mind all the people here in the class, Just having a sense of how it is that you're seeing people. And can you round out that view a bit more? Make it more in line with what's actually the case. So none of us are things. All of us have this amazing potential. Sensitivity, vulnerability, care, humanity. May we all be well. In your own time, just bring that meditation to a close. I'm just going to own my own experience a bit here. So I'm feeling a bit frazzled, really. I've done one lot of teaching today already this afternoon. So it's really important to acknowledge how one is, and yeah, and to adapt things really. So I'm not actually sure about sticking to the program I just laid out. is that it might not be the best thing. So I'm just going to see go with what happens, you know. So I'll just put you all on gallery view. So who knows anything at all about the Niyamas? Right. Some people, about half of you know something. Okay. Who knows anything at all about conditionality? Right. Okay. Um, so the Dalai Lama talks about the law of conditionality as being like the Buddha's slogan, and it's like the most important teaching in Buddhism. And all it says is that everything arises in dependence on conditions. So nothing's fixed and nothing is permanent, but nothing is like on its own and not connected with other things that condition it. So it sounds complicated, but in a way, and it is complicated, but in a way, we can just think of things that the way in which it works, you know. So for instance, if you take your mental states and your body, you know, your mental states and your body condition each other. So when you're feeling frustrated, then it manifests as tension in your body, you know. But also when you've got loads of different things that you're having to pay attention to, that can have an effect on your mind, and you just get distracted by things. So the conditions that we're in, we can work with those, you know. So we can simplify our lives so that we can concentrate better on things and the things that we want to. So the 5 niyamas are 5 ways in which things are conditioned. So basically it comes down to, there's like the kind of material world. So you know, when a meteorite hits the earth, that's called the Utu Niyama, or it's the material world. So if you're hit by a meteorite, that's nothing to do with your karma, you know. It's just a meteorite hitting you. So that's the first mode of conditionality. Second mode is bija niyama, which means, bija means seed, and it's almost like the biological, you know. So you catch a cold, and you know, you get ill. So that's the bija niyama. And then you've got the mano niyama, which is like mental things, but ones you don't have any control over. So say you had a epileptic fit or something, that'd be the mano niyama. Or you have a particular personality type, you know, you have a character, like you're introverted or you're extroverted or something like that. So yeah, you don't have any control over that. So it's really important to distinguish between that and things you have control over. So the things you have control over is the karma niyama. Karma just means action. And then finally, you've got the Dharma Niyama, which is the influence, in a way, of the transcendental of the Buddha or other bodhisattva figures on you. So this is if you want to put your computer onto speaker view to see the. I'm going to show you. So this is these are what I call the four foundations of mindfulness: body, feeling, mind. So mind is the psyche. It's the whole psyche. It's everything that happened that you kind of do in terms of your mind. So it's emotions, it's thoughts, and it's attention. So anything you have control over. So what we do in meditation is we work on the mind in this sense. You know, we do metta bhavana, we do the mindfulness of breathing, we do reflection practices in order to work on these different elements of mind or heart mind. And then you've got views, which is our map of the world, the way that we think things work, you know. So all these four are either conditions for happiness or suffering. You know, so if we let our body get into a state of tension, then it's a source of suffering. So that's why we do things like body work at the beginning of meditation. You know, get our body into a good state, and then it supports our mind. It conditions our mind in a positive way. Feeling is pleasant or painful. So what we do is we look after our body so that we get as much pleasure as we can from it. We don't indulge ourselves with it, but we don't go banging into things and create unnecessary suffering. So yeah, so in a way, we don't have much control over what happens to us here down here, these two, but we do have control over these two. So we can just experience pleasure and pain, but then how we respond to it over here is the important thing, really. So this is Karma Niyama. You know, mind is Karma Niyama. It's like all the things that we do that have a consequence for ourselves and others that lead to happiness or suffering. And then over here is Dharma Niyama. So it's like the views that we have, you know, whether those views are in line with the Dharma or not, or in line with reality or not, you know, has a consequence. So, so for instance, if we think that happiness comes from amassing material possessions, what will happen is that view will then lead to us to over here to pursuing material possessions, you know, to being very emotionally interested in material possessions, you know. And then if that doesn't work out, we'll feel pain down here. It'll be painful if it doesn't work out, but we invest in it at the time, you know. So what Buddhism invites us to do is to try and move our views to be more and more in line with the way that things are in terms of like what does actually bring happiness and what doesn't. Yeah. So this is the simple way of seeing Karma Niyama and Dharma Niyama, you know, modes of conditionality. It's quite interesting to you know, to think in terms of like what faith is, you know. So faith. So we have faith. Faith is over here in mind. So we have. So faith is Shraddha. Sorry, Shraddha. To place the heart upon. It's to place the heart and mind upon. You know. So if we place the heart and mind upon something, then what we do is we think about it all the time. We we get emotionally behind it, and we pay attention to it a lot, you know. And but we do that because of these three conditions. One, it feels right, you know. Intuitively, Buddhism feels like the right thing to do. Two, it makes sense. You know, Buddhism is rational. You know, there's no blind faith in Buddhism, for instance. You know, it makes sense. And three, it works in experience. You know, it actually works. And it delivers. You know, so I think this is really, you know, interesting way of sort of thinking about what heart is. You know, heart. It's not heart. It's heart and mind. But it's like we need to kind of get our heart, our emotions behind things. So here, you know, what we do is we get our emotions here behind the, sorry, back to front, behind the Dharma. You know, we try and get our emotion behind things that represent the Dharma. So if we think in terms of, you know, bodhisattvas and Buddhas, and, you know, who all symbolize the Dharma working and being the source of true happiness, then, you know, so we do things like devotional practices. You know, that's what it's all about. It's all about getting our emotions behind, you know, behind those particular views. So we can think of a bodhisattva, like Avalokiteshvara, for instance. So Avalokiteshvara is in a blue sky normally. So we have the blue sky. So the blue sky is a symbol for conditionality in a way. It's like represents the idea that things come into being, like clouds appear in the sky, independence on conditions, and then they disappear back into the sky when those conditions are not there anymore. So, you know, a bodhisattva appearing in the sky is like saying enlightenment is possible, or it's possible for us to create an enlightened consciousness out of the conditions in the world. So yeah, so when we reflect on the symbolism of a bodhisattva, you know, like Avalokiteshvara has 1,000 arms and 11 heads. It's like sort of saying, well, that's the template. That's a template for what brings happiness. You know, to be looking all around for people, looking out for people everywhere, and helping them. You know, that's what it's saying. You know, all the hands are all helping, and the eyes are all seeing what's happening. So, yeah. So that, you know, Subhuti in his talk about revering the Dharma, he does say about that allowing a new superpersonal motive force to operate through us, the most effective way of practicing is to enter the world of archetypal imagination, that sort of thing. So yeah. So yeah, I think all that sort of talk about karma niyama and dharma niyama, it can just sort of make everything seem a bit kind of abstract and distant. When I think the most important thing to think about is what's happening with our emotions. You know, are our emotions behind our metabhavana practice, like behind really bringing benefit into the world for people? You know, do we really feel that? Do we really want that? You know, do we really move, you know, when we come out of our meditation and start doing things that actually do that? You know, or are we a little bit just stuck in feeling and feeling nice or something? We kind of have a pleasant glow around ourselves, and we're not quite sure what we should do with emotion, you know. So I think Buddhism has a bit of some of the, well, yeah, it has a bit of a funny relationship to emotions. Sometimes it talks a lot about renunciation. It's like giving things up, but Mahayana Buddhism is saying, no, you've got to really develop your emotions and get behind all living beings, and their welfare. So, yeah. Yeah, so yeah, you want to sort of develop your karma niyama by getting your emotions behind your actions, but then you also want to develop your dharma niyama, which is getting your emotions behind receiving those views that are actually in line with reality. So being influenced by, imprinted by bodhisattvas, archetypal imagery, that sort of thing. Okay, so I think I've said pretty much what I want to say. So shall we divide into breakout groups for like 10 minutes and then come out and have a 10-minute discussion? Is that okay? Good.
You're muted. Mahabodhi, you're muted.
Thanks. All right, so has anyone got anything they want to share that they thought of that's interesting to them? Thinking in terms of like emotion, the role of emotion in things.
I was just saying that I like the way you led the meditation, because I was sort of taken to sort of outside myself. I felt like I was quite a bigger bubble or something. There was something about you saying, are you, somebody with tasks to do, or being with potential or something like that.
Yeah.
Just kind of opened something up, which was really helpful.
Yeah.
The rest of the meditation, I was a bubble and the other people in it were bubbles, not just the body. And I haven't really had a sense of that before.
Yeah.
And it made me feel sort of uplifted by the sense of that.
Yeah. I mean, the basic conditioning relationship there, I think, is that views condition emotions. So if our view is that we're just an object, then we're going to feel indifferent towards ourselves. But if our view is that we're a valuable, sensitive human being that needs looking after, we're probably going to then look after ourselves. So it's as simple as that, really. Yeah. Any other thoughts?
Hi, I did have one question. The teaching on the Niyamas, is that a Mahayana development, or is that back in the canon?
Oh, you got me there. I don't know.
So I like it when you say that. It makes me feel better, because I can't remember where anything was from.
Pass. Okay. Well, we've got half an hour left. So would you like to do a Buddha Puja? And maybe we'll have a little bit of meditation at the beginning, and yeah, so we'll have a break now. So yeah, so bearing in mind what I've been saying, and in my group there was a question about not relating to archetypal figures or ritual, that sort of thing. And what I said there was, you know, the imagery and symbolism is trying to represent something that's beyond what we are, you know, beyond our imagination. It's trying to grope towards something that's mysterious and, you know, kind of that we don't know, basically. So we can think as we recite the you know, the verses, try and have a sense of that, you know, this is pointing to something that's way beyond what I know. So if you want to get into some sort of meditation posture, something like that. So would one person like to just be the person repeating back what I say? So I can get, and everyone else mute, so just recite it or don't recite it whenever you like. Would somebody volunteer to? Oh, Natasha, great, thanks. Thank you. The Buddha Puja. Praise to the Buddha.
Praise to the Buddha.
He is calm,
He is calm,
like the earth that endures.
like the earth that endures.
He is steady,
He is steady,
like a column that is firm.
like a column that is firm.
He is pure,
He is pure,
like a lake that is clear.
like a light that is clear.
He is free from samsara,
He is free from samsara,
the endlessly unsatisfying round.
the endlessly and unsatisfying realm.
In his vision,
In his vision,
he has found freedom.
he has found freedom.
His thoughts are peace.
His thoughts are peace.
His words are peace.
His words are peace.
And his work is peace.
And his work is peace.
Salutation. By what path could you lead the Buddha astray?
By what path could you lead the Buddha astray?
He who can wander the pathless ways of the infinite.
He who can wander the pathless ways of the infinite.
The Buddha who is awake.
The Buddha who is awake.
Whose victory cannot be reversed.
Whose victory can't be reversed.
Is a being no one can conquer.
Is a being no one can conquer.
One of true vision.
One of true vision.
Is not easy to find.
Is not easy to find.
Free from craving, hatred, and delusion.
Free from craving, hatred, and delusion.
A Buddha is a guide to be treasured.
A Buddha is a guide to be treasured.
Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni Sadhu. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni Sadhu. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni Sadhu. Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni Sadhu. Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni
Sadhu.
Going for refuge. People flee for refuge to mountains or forests,
People flee for refuge to mountains or forests,
to groves, sacred trees or shrines.
grow sacred trees or shrines.
But these are not a safe refuge.
But these are not safe refuges.
They are not a refuge that frees from sorrow.
They are not a refuge that free from sorrow.
One who goes for refuge to the Buddha,
One who goes for refuge to the Buddha,
to the truth teachings,
to the truth teachings,
and to the community he taught.
and to the community he taught.
They go indeed to a great refuge.
They go indeed to a great refuge.
I take my refuge in the Buddha
I take my refuge in the Buddha
and pray that with all beings
and pray that with all beings
I may understand the great way
I may understand the great way,
whereby the Buddha seed may forever thrive.
whereby the Buddha seed may forever thrive.
I take my refuge in the Dharma
I take my refuge in the Dharma
and pray that with all beings
and pray that with all beings
I may enter deeply into the sutra treasure,
I may enter deeply into the Sutta treasure,
whereby our wisdom may grow as vast as the ocean.
whereby our wisdom may grow as vast as the ocean.
I take my refuge in the Sangha
I take my refuge in the Sangha
and pray that with all beings
and pray that with all beings
I may be brought together in harmony
I may be brought together in harmony
and have nothing to check the unimpeded progress of truth.
and have nothing to check the unimpeded progress of truth.
Namo tassa
Namo tassa
bhagavato arahato
bhagavato arahato
samma sambuddhassa.
samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa
Namo tassa
bhagavato arahato
bhagavato arahato
samma sambuddhassa.
samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa
Namo tassa
bhagavato arahato
bhagavato arahato
samma sambuddhassa.
samma sambuddhassa.
Buddhang saranang gacchami.
Buddhang saranang gacchami.
Dhammang saranang gacchami.
Dharmang saranang gacchami.
Sanghang saranang gacchami.
Sanghang saranang gacchami.
Dujampi buddhang saranang gacchami.
Dujampi buddhang saranang gacchami.
Dujampi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Dujampi dharmang saranang gacchami.
Dujampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Dujampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Tajampi buddhang saranang gacchami.
Tajampi buddhang saranang gacchami.
Tajampi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Tajampi dharmang saranang gacchami.
Tajampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Tajampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Anatipata
Panatipata.
verimani.
Verimani.
Sikkhapadam
Sikappadang.
samadhiyami.
Samadhiyami.
Adinadana
Adinadana.
verimani.
Verimani.
Sikkhapadam
Sikappadang.
samadhiyami.
Samadhiyami.
Kamesu
Kamesu.
nichachara
Chachara.
verimani.
Verimani.
Sikkhapadam
Sikappadang.
samadhiyami.
Samadhiyami.
Musavada
Usavada.
verimani.
Verimani.
Sikkhapadam
Sikappadang.
samadhiyami.
Samadhiyami.
Kamesu
Kamesu.
nichachara
Vichachara.
verimani.
Verimani.
Sikkhapadam
Sikappadang.
samadhiyami.
Samadhiyami.
Sadhu,
Sadhu.
sadhu,
Sadhu.
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 With deeds of loving kindness,
With deeds of loving kindness,
I purify my body.
I purify my body.
With open-handed generosity,
With open-handed generosity,
I purify my body.
I purify my body.
With stillness,
With stillness,
simplicity,
simplicity,
and contentment,
and contentment,
I purify my body.
I purify my body.
With truthful communication,
With truthful communication,
I purify my speech.
I purify my speech.
With mindfulness clear and radiant,
With mindfulness clear and radiant,
I purify my mind.
I purify my mind.
Acknowledging unskillfulness,
Acknowledging unskillfulness,
I think not of a fault
I think not of a fault
as a little matter,
as a little matter,
saying this is minor to me.
saying this is minor to me.
The falling of drops of water
The falling of drops of water
will in time fill a water jar.
will in time fill a water jar.
In the same way,
In the same way,
people become full of delusion,
people become full of delusion,
though they gather it little by little.
though they gather it little by little.
May I focus not on the flaws of others,
May I focus not of the flaws of others,
nor on their deeds and misdeeds,
nor on their deeds and misdeeds,
but focus on what I myself regret.
but focus on what I myself regret,
What I have done or not done,
what I have done and not done,
neither in the sky,
neither in the sky,
nor deep in the ocean,
nor deep in the ocean,
nor in a mountain cave,
nor in a mountain cave,
nor any place
nor any place
can we avoid our unskillful actions.
can we avoid our own skillful actions.
Rejoicing.
Rejoicing.
It is a delight to see the noble and ethical.
It is a delight to see the noble and the ethical.
Contact with them
Contact with them
inspires and gladdens us.
inspires and gladdens us.
When we know the balm of solitude
When we know the balm of solitude
and experience the relief of silence,
and experience the relief of silence,
then we are free from fear and sorrow,
then we are free from fear and sorrow
and feel the joy of the Dharma.
and feel the joy of the Dharma.
Oh, let us live in joy,
Oh, let us live in joy,
kindly among those who blame,
kindly among those who blame,
among those who hate.
among those who hate.
Let us live in love,
Let us live in love,
among those who fight.
among those who fight.
Let us live in peace,
Let us live in peace,
among those who crave.
among those who crave.
Let us live content,
Let us live content,
among those who slumber.
among those who slumber.
Let us live awake.
Let us live awake.
Awake and watchful.
Awake and watchful.
The followers of Buddha Gautama
The followers of Buddha Gautama
are awake and ever watchful,
are awake and ever watchful,
and ever by night and by day.
and ever by night and by day.
They remember the Buddha.
They remember the Buddha.
The followers of Buddha Gautama
The followers of Buddha Gautama
are awake and ever watchful,
are awake and ever watchful,
and ever by night and by day.
and ever by night and by day.
They find joy in deep contemplation.
They find joy in deep contemplation.
Imas mim sati, idam hoti, imos upada, imam upajati, imas mim asati, udam na hoti, imasa niroda, idam nirojati. This being, that becomes. From the arising of this, that arises. This not being, that does not become. From the ceasing of this, that ceases. Transference of benefit. As from a large garden of flowers,
As from a large garden of flowers,
many garlands and wreaths can be made,
many garlands and wreaths can be made.
so by a human being in this life,
So by a human being in this life,
much good can be achieved.
much good can be achieved.
May any merit gained through Dharma practice
May any merit gained through Dharma practice
be shared amongst all beings.
be shared amongst all beings.
The perfume of flowers goes not against the wind.
The perfume of flowers goes not against the wind.
Not even the finest perfumes
Not even the finest perfumes
of sandalwood, rose, and jasmine,
of sandalwood, rose, and jasmine,
but the perfume of virtue
but the perfume of virtue
does travel against the wind
does travel against the wind
and can reach to the ends of the earth.
and can reach to the ends of the earth.
Sabe sata suki hontu. 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 Sabe sata suki hontu.